Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Late Acceleration. If you've been following me over the last weeks and months, I've been talking a lot about how we move a golf club through a golf swing in a load of curves and loops, and obviously what's interesting to a lot of you out there is how exactly are you getting the acceleration on the club, and when do we actually want to make this acceleration? And really today's all about that, getting this late acceleration onto the golf club, not hitting at it too early, and how to do that. It's especially important with the driver. When you get the driver out, you're wanting to hit the golf ball a long way, and obviously that tends to encourage you to hit with your arms even harder than usual. But this is not what you want to be doing. On the contrary, what you've got to try and do is get the golf club down to this position where it's almost parallel with the ground again, we call P6, and that's when the acceleration is starting. Now that is probably around about 30 milliseconds before impact, and not something that you can really consciously create. So it's something that you've got to drill and get into your unconscious so that when you stand over a golf ball, you do this automatically. A lot of getting into that position is about allowing the club to follow its path, to get this feeling of dropping it into its path and down through the golf ball, of not forcing the club back down to the golf ball. On the contrary, having the feeling that it's almost just gravity which is pulling it down. At the same time, allowing yourself to go into this small squatting position. This is extremely important for the acceleration of the golf club later, and allowing your hips to return back to their starting position or even turn a little bit further. And this is all happening in the so-called transition, or what I call the move. As I get to the top of the swing, I stop lifting, I stop rotating, and I allow virtually the forces of momentum to carry my arms further up and start them down. And as I feel the arms dropping, this is when I'm trying to kind of get into that little bit of a squatting movement and come back. And it's here where the acceleration starts. So if your downswing is taking a quarter of a second, then you can see that 80% of your downswing, you are not accelerating the golf club. You are waiting to accelerate the golf club. You are getting your body into a position where it can do it. So how in the world do we generate all this speed in such a short amount of time? Well, obviously it's all about using levers, and that's the reason you've got such a long shaft on the driver. What we're trying to do is to get the arms down and then use our body to create this acceleration through the ball. I hope you can hear that, because what you should be hearing is the air being ripped through and after the ball, and not here. Even if I pull it down as hard as I can't create the speed I can create with a correct release. So what exactly is generating the speed, and how am I doing that? Well, it's all about the speed at the last point of your downswing. You are basically going to be almost passive with your body at the beginning of the downswing as well, using the tension you created in the backswing and the slight kind of sitting movement to just allow your body to make its way back to the center and turn maybe with the hips a little bit further, to load the ground to get pressure on the balls of your feet so that you can then explode up. What's happening there is you are actually turning the hips into the end of their movement, and by the time they get to the end of their range, they are allowing the shoulders to rotate quicker, and it's the shoulders which are really doing it, as far as the release is concerned. moving your shoulders suddenly a little bit quicker just before impact will actually create a number of forces. First of all, accelerating your hands again a little bit towards the target, but then slowing them down rather abruptly as the lead shoulder, rather than moving the hands towards the target, starts to move the hands away from the ball and up. As far as the club is now concerned, what's happening is the hands have virtually stopped their movement to the target, and this will catapult it down. As I've said before, your trail arm, which has been holding these angles, is now releasing these angles and bringing the club hopefully down on path and releasing out. So you have a double whammy. You have the pulling of the lead shoulder and arm up away from the ball, and you have the acceleration of the trail arm and wrist pushing the club down and through the ball, and it's all happening at the same time. And this has an awful lot to do, obviously, with the speed of your movement. It's got to be a little bit quick, and that's where your legs come in. If you can get that kind of jumping feeling, pushing up hard out of the ground with both feet, jamming them into the ground, it will abruptly help you to turn and get this lead shoulder back up out of the way, and that will accelerate the club through the ball. If you do this obviously gently, you're not going to have the same speed as you get jumping at it. Now I know that's going to make you all very fearful that if you straighten your legs and jump, your head is going to go up. But don't forget, your body is really a massive shock absorber. The last thing that it wants is for your head to move violently upwards. And so what your body will actually do is it will bend. It will actually create almost like a damping movement by bending your spine, allowing your trail shoulder to come down and your head to not only stay at around about the same height, but even to go down through that impact. So the actual forces that you are creating up, back and away from the ball are actually creating forces which are going to help you to stay down and over the golf ball as you release through the club, through the ball. Now obviously this is all happening extremely late in the swing, but as you can see, I'm not only able to generate a lot of club head speed that way, I'm finding the golf ball as well. And that's the extraordinary thing about accelerating a golf club so late in the swing. It will help you to control the face. If you start accelerating early in your downswing, you are starting to rotate the club face as well. And that means you're going to have to work hard with your hands to get it anywhere close to square at impact. On the contrary, if you can just have the patience to let it come down, you'll find that the acceleration through the golf ball will actually automatically control the club face, keeping inertia on the head and helping you to keep the face square for longer through impact. When you practice this, work on speed. We've done an exercise in the past with our hands over our chest where we're just working on getting this movement. You now want to get the feeling of this becoming a quicker movement at the end of the swing, moving to the end of range with your hips, having the feeling that the lead shoulder moves abruptly up and away from the ball, whilst at the same time allowing your arms to move freely, your wrists to release, in no way controlling the hands, allowing them to almost fall out of the air and be thrown through the golf ball by your body. This is the way to more distance and still finding the golf ball. Go out there on the range and try it. If you like the video as ever, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you would like to become a patron to the channel, please do so. I shall leave a link below, and a big thank you to everybody who's been supporting me for so long as a patron to the channel. I'll see you all very soon with the next one. Bye bye.